What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today we're going to be discussing the Kevin Kolb trade, which occurred on July 28th, 2011. Now, this trade was always expected to happen in the 2011 offseason, but there was a lockout during the 2011 offseason for the NFL. And originally it was rumored that the Eagles were going to trade Kevin Kolb to the Cardinals for the Cardinals' first round pick in the 2011 draft. That pick was the sixth overall selection, and the rumor was the Eagles would acquire, cornerback Patrick Peterson. And it made sense for both teams. The Cardinals needed a franchise quarterback. Kevin Kolb was a really good backup. He was good when given the opportunity, but the problem was, Donovan McNabb was there for a long time, and then when he leaves, Michael Vick comes in, but Cobb's the starter. Then Kolb suffers a concussion opening day against the Packers, and that essentially was the end of the Kolb era in Philly. But the Eagles needed cornerback help, so it made sense. But then the lockout meant you couldn't trade a player for a draft pick, so that's why it didn't happen, and that's why this trade happened. So the Cardinals would acquire quarterback Kevin Kolb from the Eagles in exchange for cornerback Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, who at the time was one of the top corners in the league, and a 2012 second-round pick. So we'll start off with the Cardinals with Kevin Kolb. And Kevin Kolb, so he was for the first time ever the unquestioned, undoubtable starter, and he struggled over 2 years in Arizona. And he dealt with numerous injuries, which include a turf toe injury and concussion problems, which eventually led to his release. But he didn't show the talent that he had showed in Philadelphia. So the trade was definitely a bust for the Cardinals. As for Philly, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie was supposed to step in, pairing with, Nnamdi Asomugha to become this amazing cornerback duo. Did that work out? Well, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie was moved to the nickel position for his first year in Philly, and he wasn't good. And he earned numerous nicknames. My two personal favorites, because we would call him DRC, obviously, and my personal ones were doesn't really care and doesn't really cover. Because the guy showed a complete lack of effort, and it showed. It showed. Like, you could see he wouldn't be hustling. He didn't care. He didn't cover. So doesn't really cover, doesn't really care, whatever you want to say. The guy just didn't show any effort. And he has an okay season his second year, but then he leaves. He goes to free agency, he walks. So the 2012 second round pick. So that would become the 51st overall pick. Now the Eagles would end up trading pick 51 to the Green Bay Packers in exchange for picks 59 and 123. So with the 51st pick, Green Bay would select defensive tackle Jarrell Worthy. And Worthy spent two very uneventful seasons in Green Bay before being traded. Now, he was traded to New York for a conditional draft pick, and the condition was that he makes the team. He doesn't make the Patriots, so the Packers don't get a pick for him. That's why I didn't mention that trade here. Philadelphia, with the 59th pick, would select defensive end Vinny Curry. So Vinny Curry was mostly a backup defensive end over 6 seasons, but he made his name known eventually. He had a great season 1 year, but then he ends up forcing 5 fumbles over 6 seasons, and he gets 22.5 sacks. Now, he was a key piece for the Super Bowl run. He made a couple big plays during the Super Bowl year, and he was a diehard Eagles fan before the draft, so he was very happy. But they did have to cut him after the Super Bowl because his contract was too big. He did return to the Eagles for the 2019 season. He's still on the Eagles 2020, but we're not counting those 2 years. So 6 solid years of production from him. And the 123 pick would become cornerback Brandon Boykin. Again, the Eagles were in desperate need of cornerback help. And Brandon Boykin, he actually was a key player on defense and special teams. Now, he was a return man on special teams. He had speed, and he was good for 3 years. Now, it became apparent that he had an injury. He had one of his arms or one of his legs, I think it was legs, was a little bit shorter than the other. So it was a long-term concern. So the Eagles would actually end up, during the 2015 offseason, trading Boykin to their cross-Commonwealth state, if you will, rival Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 2016 fifth-round pick. So in Pittsburgh, Boykin, he didn't have a big role over a single season before he left the team. Now, we enter the 2016 draft, and Pittsburgh's fifth-round pick becomes the 164th pick in the draft. So with the 164th pick, the Eagles would select offensive tackle Halapuvati Vaitai. And the Big V, as he was known in Philly, he spent, he was a backup most of the time for 4 years. Now, he's always going to be remembered as the guy who started left tackle for the Eagles in their Super Bowl run because of Jason Peters' injury. And he ends up walking after the 2019 season, but he had a solid, albeit unspectacular, 4-year run in Philadelphia. So that was the Kevin Kolb trade. It's pretty obvious who wins this trade. It's the Eagles because, well, Rodgers-Cromartie did nothing. Fact is they got Halapuvati Vaitai and Vinny Curry from this trade. Both of those guys were starters on the Super Bowl team, so they will take it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was the Kevin Kolb video. Have a great rest of your day.